Welcome to a cozy autumn spooky vlog. Yes. Hello spooky friends, my name is Lexi and welcome back to my channel. Today is the start of a brand new reading vlog. I am fully in the autumnal spirit right now, you guys. It is actually getting cold outside, which is really exciting to me. I can finally start wearing like more comfy sweaters and hoodies, and like I just love sweater weather so much. I wanted to start this vlog today, even though it's mostly going to be a bit of a work day. I have a lot of things to edit, and I just actually got done filming a couple of different videos for my channel. However, I wanted to come on and intro this before I forgot, because I'm going to be starting to read my spookier reads today. Just a little tiny bit of a preview. I'm actually going to be starting the vlog with reading one of my most highly anticipated reads for October, and that is These Fleeting Shadows by Kate Alice Marshall. This is a book that I just want to devour. Like I want to devour it all in one sitting. I think it's going to be so good. This is considered like Knives Out meets Haunting of Hill House, and we're following a girl named Helen, and Helen inherits her family's fortune as well as their creepy Gothic mansion, which she's never actually seen in her life. But to get this inheritance, she and her mom have to stay at this creepy mansion for 1 full year. And that's definitely giving me Knives Out vibes. This is going to be kind of like the priority for today and tomorrow because I really want to read it. I'm also really hungry. It's officially lunchtime. And so what I think I'm going to do is actually go to Panera because they have their autumn squash soup available along with like their super cute like shortbread pumpkin cookies. And that just sounds like a good freaking time. Plans for today though, aside from getting delicious soup and also reading, are basically just editing the day away, which I actually quite enjoy. I love editing. I'll probably make myself like a cozy cup of tea later, but I think that's about it. So let's go ahead and kick off the vlog with getting some soup, because what says autumn more than autumn squash soup? One other thing, I'm definitely changing. This was all for the video. I am about to get into the world's most comfortable clothes and some glasses. Okay. so it's been a couple of days since I last updated you. I think my last talking video was Thursday. Friday, I ended up not filming at all for this vlog because I was just doing super boring, like businessy things. I was editing all day. I was negotiating with sponsors. I was doing invoices. It was really boring and like I didn't have any time to vlog. And I also like was in my sweats all day long as I was doing this. You didn't miss anything. And then over the weekend, I really didn't film a lot either. I went on a really nice hike with my dad and that was so much fun. I love hiking with my dad because he makes me laugh the entire time and it's like a really good time. Thanks for not minding me taking a couple of shots.
Just don't get addicted to it. I mean, the morning is not a good time to drink.
He's like my best friend. He and my mom are my best friends, my brother too. And then today I went to an art class, as you saw. I go to an art class with my mom once a week. I have technically a lot of work to do, but I'm going to be reading for a different vlog today. I'm trying to read all of the books in a series of unfortunate events, and I need to start that. So I think in a second I'm gonna go upstairs and start to read that series just so that I can be like done on time and stuff. However, I just realized that I never updated you about this book, which I completely finished over the weekend. This book exceeded my expectations. Like, I loved Rules for Vanishing so much. I thought that this was gonna be really good. But in the back of my mind, I was like, it's okay if it's not going to be good. It's okay. This book blew my freaking mind. Have you ever like read a book and you're enjoying it so much that you have to stop reading it at times and like internally scream? Like, I had moments when I would read something and I would literally look up and I would be like, I love reading. And I don't always get that reaction from every book I read. I love reading because occasionally you will find gems that like really do it for you. And then you're like, that's what all of it is about. It's about finding that one book or those books that really make an impact and are just so much fun to read. And that's what this was to me. I will 100% say that this is not going to be a book for everyone. I have seen a couple of TikToks on it and some people are really confused. And I understand why, because like there's a lot of layers to this and there are so many different like plot twists and things like that. I will say that there is a device used in this that I typically don't like, and I'm like notorious for saying, like ranting about on my channel. I've said in the past, I don't like it when people do this. I don't know what to tell you. In this book, it worked. Everything about this just really worked for me. I loved the Gothic vibes of this. I loved the character development. I loved the angst in this. I loved the pining in this. I loved everything. This was messy, Gothic, creepy, scary, disgusting at times. It was everything. This is really going to be for fans of anybody who loves things that are Gothic. This is extremely Gothic. I'm sure you can tell that it's going to be Gothic based on like this. It was compared to Knives Out and The Haunting of Hill House, and I feel like that's accurate. But I also feel like it would be accurate to compare this to Mexican Gothic. I feel like that would be a really good comparison. There's also another classic Gothic tale that I would compare this to, but I feel like if I compared this book to that book on here, it would give away a couple of things, and I don't want to do that. Also, don't read the back until you finish this if you want to pick it up, because it does give away some stuff. But this is a very, it's not a retelling, but it was loosely inspired off of something, and I've never actually read that particular something, that particular tale, but now I really want to. This was a 5 out of 5 stars. It was really good. I'm hesitant when giving out 5 out of 5 stars because I feel like the old me wanted to only do that to books that were absolutely perfect in every single way. And there's a couple of things in here where I was like, well, I don't know if I liked that particular device on how we like explain something. But here's the thing. I have found that what's more important than like perfect books, if such a thing exists, is how long a book stays with you. And I remember when I read Rules for Vanishing, I was like, I love this book so much, but I don't know if it should make my top 10 of the year. And so instead it was an honorable mention. But I've got to be honest with you, I don't even remember my top 10 of that year, but I remember Rules for Vanishing, and I wish I had like put it in the top 10 of that year. So I'm not going to do that. Instead of like critiquing it to death, I'm just going to go with how did it make me feel? This was a 5 out of 5 stars read. I love it so much. If you love creepy Gothic tales, if you don't mind being scared, I think you should pick this up. It's so good. Ooh, also I got my nails done. I got just like this was supposed to be a darker brown, but I have to be honest, like I'm okay with it. It's cute. It's like a nude brown. So 5 out of 5 stars for this one. I kind of wish I had saved it because I read it in like 48 hours. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm afraid that the next book I read is gonna let me down because I loved it so much. So we'll see. But like, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. I also forgot to mention that I am currently in the middle of Babel by R.F. Kuang. I am officially on book 3 in here. So I've read, how many pages have I read? I've read 219 out of, I think this has like over 500 pages. And this is an adult fantasy and a dark academia. I don't think I have said the synopsis in this one yet. We're following Robin Swift in the 1800s, and he is essentially kind of like adopted, but not really adopted, by a man who's a professor at Babel. And this is like a language institute at Oxford. Also, I have heard a lot of different people say how this should be pronounced and how it should not be pronounced. And I'm gonna be honest with you, besties, I am nowhere near knowing how to pronounce it because in the audiobook, it's pronounced Babel.
We hope you have enjoyed this unabridged production of Babel.
However, this particular institute was kind of modeled after the Tower of Babel, which is in the Bible. In the book, the people who attend Babel Institute or Babel Institute are called babblers, and it's spelled like a babbling brook. I looked on Google Translate, and when I typed in this word right here, it said babble.
Babble. Babble.
Then I went to a different dictionary.com, put in the exact same word, it said Babel.
Babel. Babel.
Then I looked up an interview with R.F. Kuang, and she was doing an interview with the publisher. And I feel like this is the most accurate. She refers to the book as Babel.
The reasons why you wrote Babel in the first place. Is that right?
Yeah, most of my books revolve around academia. Babel is the most explicitly academic one.
So she refers to it as Babel to the people who are like the publishers who are interviewing her. And if I can remember, I will link all of this down below so that you can see how confused I am. If we go by the audiobook narrator, it's Babel. If we go by R.F. Kuang, who wrote the book, who has given an interview, I heard her say Babel. If we go by Google Translate, it's either or. I honestly feel like it depends on your accent. I think it depends on where you're from.
Babel.
Babel.
But I'm gonna go with how R.F. Kuang pronounced it in an official interview with the publishers because she wrote the book. So that's how I'm sure she was saying it in her head. However, the audiobook narrator says Babel, so I don't know. Anyways, Babel or Babel is a dark academia fantasy. We're following Robin Swift in the 1800s, and he is kind of like adopted sort of by a professor who goes to Babel. Or Babel. And while he is there, he learns how to create magic because in this world, magic is created actually by doing different translations and different meanings for things, which I think is really, really fascinating. The book itself is really, really cool because in addition to having a lot of commentary on like how rigorous and hard academia is and the world of academia is, there are also quite a few themes on colonization and on, you know, like ownership property of words and phrases and like culture. And it's very, very well written and it's very fascinating and it's very fast paced. And it's a book that I'm just having a lot of fun taking my time reading. I'm listening to this on audiobook. I highly recommend the audiobook narrator is fantastic. I'm having a good time. I'm hoping to finish this book in this particular vlog. We'll see. And then as far as what I'm going to read next, well, right now I'm gonna read a different book for a different vlog. But after that, tonight, it's between these 3 books. The first one is Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. This is like a magical hotel, and we're following 2 sisters who get a job at said hotel. Nettle in Bone is adult fantasy. I like it because it's kind of short, which is not as intimidating, and it's about a princess who I think has to try to rescue her sister from an abusive husband, and there's apparently like a lot of magic that happens in this particular book. I love fantasy around this time of year, so I feel like this would be really good. And then the last one is Belladonna by Addienne Grace. This is a book that a lot of people are saying is like a surprising 5 out of 5 stars. Now, I picked it up because it sounds really, really good, but a lot of people are saying that they picked it up not expecting a lot, and now it's like their favorite book of the year, or it's incredibly underrated. And now I'm really interested in picking this one up. This is the Gothic tale about the girl named Signa. Is that it? Yeah, Signa. And every time she lives with like guardians, because her parents, I think she's an orphan, the guardians die like mysteriously. And then in her newest guardianship home, I guess the dad is really, really upset that his wife died, and now Signa wants to try to like talk to her. After a seance, she talks to the wife, she learns that she was murdered, and now Signa has to figure out who murdered her. So I don't know which one. I think I might ask Instagram. I think I'm gonna ask Instagram which one I should read, and I'm gonna go to Starbucks, get myself a pick-me-up because I have to read a bunch, but then I still have to get to like other things today. I have to do a lot of edits and like video prep and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to let Instagram decide which one to read, get a Starbucks, read a little bit for my other vlog, and then I will catch up with you after my workday is finished. Also, before I end this clip, I will also tell you that I have been completely obsessed with a brand new cozy video game. It's called, oh my God, what is it called? It's the Disney one. It's called Dreamlight Valley. You guys, Dreamlight Valley is like the new Animal Crossing. I mean, nothing can really replace Animal Crossing in my heart, but I'm a big Disney person. So like playing this game where it kind of feels a little bit like Animal Crossing, but like in a Disney-like setting, has brought me so much ridiculous joy. I cannot even tell you. I think that's it for my update though. I'm gonna ask Instagram which book I should read, go get a Starbucks, and I will catch up with you in a little bit. Bye. Hello, friends. So today is Wednesday, I think I want to say, and I have a new update. I have officially finished Babel by R.F. Kuang, and I kind of wanted to review it for you now. I will tell you right now, I do recommend reading it. I think it was really, really well done, and I really feel like R.F. Kuang just did a fantastic job. The writing that she has in this book is so spectacular and so beautiful. There were so many gorgeous quotes in here where I would read it and I would just get like chills, because some of the way that she describes Babel and the characters and some of the situations that they're going through is just so well done. Okay, so I know I already told you what this book is about. Dark academia, adult high fantasy following Robin Swift, who was taken from his homeland, China, kind of sort of like adopted by a guardian named Professor Lovell, and then he went and he ended up getting a full ride scholarship to Oxford's Babel, which is a language institute where he was basically translating and creating magic for the university and also for England. So some of the things that I thought were fantastic. I thought that the character development was incredible. I really, really love all of the characters. We are following 4 main characters. Our main protagonist's name is Robin Swift, but then we're also following Remy, who is his best friend, and he is my personal favorite character. We're following Victoire, who is, I think, also like equally my favorite character. I don't know, maybe she is actually my ultimate favorite character. We're following Letty, who I did not care for. I did not like her. Kick her out. Don't want to see her face. And then also, obviously, Robin Swift. We're also following kind of like their journey and their relationships and their interpersonal relationships with the professors. I really, really enjoyed some of the side characters. There's kind of like a secret society that you learn about called the Hermes Society, and I really enjoyed the backstory to so many of those different characters. I won't exactly say who's in it or how you meet, but like Robin has personal connections to at least one of the people. I feel like a lot of the people who end up participating and helping in Hermes, like, it's just very interesting how they get involved and their backstory and who they end up being. I think that this is fantastic because what I think I like about dark academia, I know it's an aesthetic and not a genre, but the books that have to do with dark academia actually tend to, I think, deal with very serious topics. Not all of them. There are some that I think are a little bit more lighter and they focus more on the aesthetic, but like The Secret History is a great example of one that is really discussing privilege and classism and how sometimes sometimes like you can really lose touch with reality and you forget that not everything is like in this isolated little world of academia. And I enjoyed so much of the themes of that book. And this book, I feel the themes are so well done and so important. The number one biggest theme of this is how damaging colonization is and how the repercussions of colonization span so much further than what you really see like as a surface level. I love that R.F. Kuang took the time throughout the story, but also in the footnotes of the story to really go into detail on how something that might not seem very serious is actually much more layered as far as like colonization, and showing like how deep it runs and how difficult it is to kind of escape colonization once it has started. I also really enjoyed some of the plot twists in here. Some of them I really was not expecting, and I felt like they were really thought out. I think that the language is really interesting. R.F. Kuang, obviously translator, she's very smart. This doesn't feel like it was written in the 1800s. The dialogue feels very modern. It's not like they're saying exactly what we would say now, but the language is extremely accessible, and she does use words that I think are more prevalent in today's society, one of them being like an ally or performanism. That stuff is mostly used, I think, now. It wasn't necessarily something that was discussed, I think, in the 1800s, but I really appreciated that she used a lot of those because it made the story into something that I think we could really understand in today's perspective. So I actually really enjoyed that she kind of made it feel a little bit easier to understand and more accessible. I also really love how romantic she makes language and translation feel in this particular book. I never really think about how difficult it must be to translate a work of fiction, and reading this, it just gave me like a whole new perspective and appreciation for it. Ultimately, there's this really beautiful quote in here where basically she's saying that there is no direct translation for words because our languages are basically what makes us different, and we communicate using our native tongue, and like there are phrases and words in our language that actually can't necessarily be translated directly into other languages. And how beautiful is that we all have so many of these differences that like tie us to our culture and our heritage. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really beautiful, and I had never really thought about how not everything can be a direct translation. It really is kind of like a love letter to language in a lot of ways, which I loved so very much. I feel like there was kind of a shift about 2/3 of the way in, maybe half of the way in, where the book felt different. It felt like the first half of the book was different than the second half of the book, which is interesting because I've actually heard a lot of people have said that about her first book in the Poppy Wars series. Tonally, the shift is very drastic in my opinion. And in fact, the main character, Robin Swift, feels the same in the first half than he does in the second half. But even though he feels the same and his character arc is the same, I feel like his decisions are completely different, and it makes sense because he goes through it, okay? He goes through a lot, but there's a point in the book when things turn bleak and they just keep getting bleaker. I have very mixed feelings about this. A little tiny bit of a spoiler, but not quite a spoiler, is tonally, the book doesn't really end on like a happy note. It's actually like quite depressing. If you're gonna read this book, I just want you to know you're gonna finish the book and be like, wait, so there, what? Like, it's just a weird moment where you realize it doesn't really end happy, but it does end beautifully. And I have like kind of mixed emotions about this. I'm going to say a spoiler now. So if you don't want to see spoilers for Babel, skip until I take the spoiler thing off. But I really want to talk about this. I cannot figure out my exact emotions for the ending. Number one, I felt like the last 2 pages of Babel were some of the most beautiful works that I have ever read in my entire life, of any book. They were just so stunning. Essentially, this is major spoilers, okay? They decide that they are just going to burn Babel to the the ground. There's like all of this stuff that's happening, and they're trying to prevent a war between China and Britain that Britain is starting. And so they decide to kind of do like a mass unaliving of themselves so that they can burn down Babel with all of them in it. It's difficult for me because I feel like that moment, like there was so many, it felt like it was idolizing that just a little bit too much. It was like, gosh, isn't it so beautiful that we're dying for the cause and the sunlight's coming in and I could never carry on. I'm so glad basically that I'm and I was reading that and I was like, you know, I feel like this ties with a part that Rami was saying to Robin, where Robin always wanted kind of the easy way out. So like Robin at one point after he murders somebody, he's like, I'm just gonna turn myself in. I don't want to deal with any of this. I'm gonna take the repercussions, whether like I die or whether I'm in jail or whatever. And Rami tells him, he's like, you're always looking for the easy way out. When Victoire is like talking to Robin, she's like, Robin, that's the easy way out. Like you have to live day after day after day. Like please live and survive with me because I don't want to die. I understand what you're going through, but like please live on with me. And Robin's like, no, I'm not going to. On one hand, I thought this was so beautiful, like the way it happened and how he self-sacrificed for the greater good. On the other hand, I don't know, I was sad because I was like, I feel like this is idolizing this in a way that I actually haven't read in other books before. And so I have like very mixed feelings and emotions about that. But how it ended with Robin and how it ended specifically with like his mom, he pictures his mom saying his name in Chinese, was so beautiful. It was so gorgeous. But let me tell you how I think it actually should ended. In the epilogue, Victoire, whose name means victory, she decides that she wants to sneak out of Babel and she wants to just keep moving on. And so she has to basically be on the run from the British Empire her whole life because she's kind of taken them down in a lot of ways. I just like loved this quote so much. There will come many nights on the voyage when the sadness is so great it threatens to tear her apart. When she regrets her decision to live, when she curses Robin for placing this burden on her because he was right. He was not being brave. He was not choosing sacrifice. Death is seductive. Victory resists. I just thought it was so unbelievably powerful that she said this, that I was like, I wish that had been Robin, because the entire book, it really felt like Robin was extremely passive. I wish that he had gone off with Victoire and like that had been how it ended, by saying death is seductive, but victory goes on, because that is so powerful. And the truth is, it's very, very difficult, I think, to continue going on when you have all of this horrible stuff just like thrown at you. I think it is so unbelievably challenging and heroic and exhausting to like go on day after day after day, but it's also so inspiring, I think, for readers to read about. So that's like a personal decision. I loved how Victoire's Victory. I liked how Victory's storyline ended, and I kind of wish that that is how Robin's had ended too. I go back and forth because the way Robin's arc ended was so unbelievably beautiful. It was crazy. It was so beautiful. I would also say that I was not expecting Robin to become kind of a little bit villainous. It was so interesting because he has this like shift where after, you know, a couple of people die and he's really, really changed, he is willing to sacrifice people. He's willing to sacrifice children. He's willing to sacrifice like civilians, people who are completely innocent, so that he can make this bold statement to the British government. And like, there are so many professors and students, Victoire, who are like reasoning with him. And they're like, we understand this is horrible and we like want to change the world, but we can't hurt innocent children. We can't hurt like innocent people. And Robin just doesn't care because he's so unbelievably heartbroken and exhausted. He kind of like snaps and he becomes almost like the villain. But it's so tricky, right? Because like, how else is change gonna happen? He is convinced that he's just doing this for the greater good, because otherwise, how are they going to stop this horrible beast that is colonization? And so as a reader, it's so fascinating to read because everything that Robyn is doing is for the greater good. And you're like, no, like it has to happen this way because otherwise all of these innocent people in China are gonna die. And you get so angry and you get so riled up, and it's so easy just to be like, no, I fully agree with Robyn. But on the other hand, then you hear about the other side and how all of these people are dying and how it's really not fair. And a lot of it is kind of because of Robyn. And it's like, I don't know, like it just makes everything so much more gray morally. I enjoy that because I like it when things aren't fully spelled out for you. I enjoy it when characters are messy because I think life is messy. And I think when you have things that are too cookie cutter, as in like this is the bad guy, this is the good guy, it can be not as realistic, right? Like we're a mixed bag of emotions and of different things. And so I feel like that was really, really well done as well. However, it was sad because there was a moment when I was like, I don't really like Robyn as much anymore. So I think those are my overall thoughts. The ending was stunning and beautiful, although I sort of wish it had ended on a slightly different note, the note being the way it ended kind of in the epilogue. And I wish that had been the ending for two different characters, not just one. But it was so unbelievably beautiful the way it ended with a different character on the last page. So again, I'm a little bit torn, but overall, I thought it was really, really beautiful. It was well-researched, messy, fascinating, and just, I think it did a really great job at showing how beautiful language is and how powerful language is and how powerful translation is and the importance of translation, but also how absolutely ugly and horrible colonization is. And so yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. So I would say my overall rating for this is, I think, gonna rest at a 4-star. There's a lot of death and torture and destruction and a lot of war. And those aren't typically themes that I look for in books. And so as just a personal thing, as a reader, I wasn't enjoying myself quite as much. But overall, the story, absolutely phenomenal. The writing was gorgeous. The characters were well done. I think the arcs were really, really well fleshed out as well for every single person. I really enjoyed this. So for my next read, I could not decide between 3 different books, Nettle and Bone, Belladonna, or Hotel Magnifique. I think 2 of them are YA and then 1 was adult fantasy. And so I ended up asking my Instagram what I should read next. And ultimately, you guys chose Hotel Magnifique. I think Belladonna was actually a pretty close second, but this is the book that won. So this is the book that I'm going to be focusing on for the next couple of days. I started to read this a while ago in the summer and I felt like it felt so autumnal that I wanted to wait. So I don't really remember it. I'm going to reread like the first chapter and then I will hopefully read a ton and fill you in as I read. For right now though, I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm going to edit the day away because I have a video that I have to finish and upload today. But yeah, I think that's it. So I will probably catch up with you a little bit later tonight when I try to read both of these books. Okay, see you then. Hi friends. So it is the exact same day and it's about 7:30 at night. And technically I still have to work for like another hour probably, but I wanted to pause because I really, really have been craving Rice Krispie treats and I felt like that would be so much fun to bake. Listen, it's not a vlog on my channel unless there are ungodly amounts of sugar, you know? So here are all of the ingredients. We've got Rice Krispies. We've got these little milk things. I'm gonna melt these and then like drizzle them on top. I'm so excited. I got some sprinkles. These ones are like rainbow sprinkles, but I'm just gonna use like Halloween colors. So this green one, this orange one, and this purple one. I got these like little eyeballs too. I feel like that'll make it even more creepy. And then I don't know if I'm gonna use these, but I might also like cut up a couple of these and like stick them on top too. I was considering doing candy corn, but listen, I hate candy corn, so it would have just been for the aesthetics. And while I love aesthetics, I don't love aesthetics at the expense of my literal taste buds. So I am so excited. We're gonna make these. I made these like specific types of Rice Krispie treats like 2 or 3 years ago, and they're so good. They're just normal Rice Krispie treats, but with all of the chocolate on top, they make them extra good. So I'm so excited. I've been like craving these all week long. So I mean, it's only Wednesday, but you know what I mean. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's check out what these like little elves have to say about the recipe. So it says we need 6 cups of these little Rice Krispies. Look at how cheerful these people are. Like, I want to hang out with them, you know? Okay, it looks like that's 6 cups. That's at the 6. Okay, next, they're talking about like a very specific brand of marshmallows. They didn't have that. So I got the house brand. There's nothing wrong with Publix brand, you know? So I don't know how much to measure this then. 1 package, 10 ounces. How many ounces is this? 16? Well, this is a better value. And then it says to do 3 tablespoons of butter, but listen, we're just gonna put the stick in there because that's just like an extra one. It's just good baking skills, you know, to throw in extra butter. Okay, there's the butter. Look at her doing her butter magic already. This is honestly so exciting to me. I mean, I know it's just Rice Krispie treats, but it's baking. Okay, so I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't know how much I will actually be filming because once you start with this Rice Krispie process, it like goes really fast. Okay, here we go. Both the scary and the fun part. Get all those in there. Okay, these things puff up so fast and it's just so thrilling. I added more marshmallows. I'm not apologizing for it. Oh my freaking gosh. It's so beautiful. Look at it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the Rice Krispies are all done, but what makes it so incredible, in my very humble opinion, is the toppings. If you've never put toppings on your Rice Krispie treats, like genuinely, you haven't lived yet, okay? So here are the toppings. We have 2 different types of chocolate. Sprinkles, the eyes, and then also I'm gonna cut up a couple of these like little candy bars. I'm so excited. First things first though, let's melt the chocolate. Okay, this looks about, look at that. Don't you just want to drink that? Is it just me? And you guys, it's finished. And it honestly brings me so much joy. Look at these little candy eyeballs. Look at them with their amazing Halloween goodness. Like, this just brings me so much joy. So I'm very excited. I'm going to cut myself a little piece of this and go upstairs and continue working, I guess, on some of my videos. Hello, friends. So it's an hour and a half later, and I've been editing. I've also been eating. I ate 2 of those Rice Krispie treats, and like, they are so much better than they even look. Like, they hit the spot unlike anything else. I love Rice Krispie treats. I've been editing for about an hour and a half, and I don't know if you can hear, but like, I have really, really bad seasonal allergies just in the fall. It's so weird. I don't really get them in the spring, but in the fall, they're so bad. So all I want to do is like take a shower and wash my hair and like wash off all of the pollen off of my body. So I think I'm gonna end like today's vlog now. Sorry I didn't get to vlog as much as I was originally like intending. My day-to-day life is so boring because all I do basically is edit in front of my computer and then like write and research for videos. So I'm so sorry. I think tomorrow I'm gonna try to do like a couple other things. I might go book shopping tomorrow because there's a new book out that I really, really want. And I've checked my book budget and I think I can afford a new book. I think that's it though. I'm gonna keep editing for probably another hour and a half, and if I have any energy after taking a shower and editing more, I'm going to try to start Hotel Magnifique. I think that's it though. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Hello, besties, and good morning. Welcome to the final day, I guess, of the vlog. It is Friday. I try to go out of the house at least once a week to do some of my work at like a cafe. I just feel like it's a little bit refreshing. So today is the day. I'm going to be editing quite a bit for this vlog in particular, as well as like doing a couple of like possibly invoicey things at the cafe as well. I really, really have to do that. But I'm also going to be trying to read a little bit more of Hotel Magnifique while I am at the cafe too. Just started this. Like yesterday, I only read a little tiny bit, and today I really, really want to see how far I can go in this particular book since it is the last day for my vlog. So far though, the atmosphere of this is so, so cozy and like perfect for fall. I'm really, really enjoying the way Emily J. Taylor writes. I don't know, I feel like there are certain people who like you vibe with the writing style, and so far I'm really, really vibing with this writing style. It is freezing today, so I think while we're at the cafe, I'm gonna get like a hot hazelnut latte. That just sounds so good. And they also have this really, really good breakfast bowl. It has like sweet potatoes and chickpeas and like I think a little bit of curry in it, some kale, and then you can have it with like a couple of eggs. So I am so excited for that. I have been craving that like all morning. I also had such a lovely chat with one of my friends this morning, Britt. We had such a good coffee date and catch up today, and it was so lovely. I just love my friends so much. It was just so nice. I also ended up having like a FaceTime. I didn't record it or anything with two of my friends last night. It was so funny because like I had been planning on doing a catch up with one of my friends, and then my other friend texted me and I was like, do you want to just FaceTime? So I ended up FaceTiming last night for like 4 hours, which was so much fun. I need that. I don't know if other people need that, but I definitely need like solid friendship time. I love my friends. I'm so lucky. Anyways, so that was really, really nice. But today, basically, we're going to go to the cafe. We're going to work for a little bit. I'm going to be trying to read a bunch of this book today as well. But then also, I thought it might be kind of fun to go to the bookstore, but I think that's everything. So let's start this very cozy autumnal day off with going to a cafe. So it is actually Sunday night, and I thought that I would go ahead and close out the vlog with showing you what I got from Barnes & Noble, but then also with ranking all of the books that I've read this week. I will go ahead and preface this by saying I did not finish Hotel Magnifique, but I did get halfway through. So let me tell you like my thoughts and feelings on this book as of right now. I feel like Hotel Magnifique does the best at like atmosphere and world building that I've seen in a long time. People who I think like I would recommend this to are fans of Caraval and then also fans of the Night Circus. Reading this book feels sort of like drinking hot chocolate. It feels very sweet and immersive and warm and magical. This is the type of book that I think really translates well in like your imagination. It reads a lot like a movie, but I'm not necessarily connecting with the characters as much as I wish. Some of the best world building I've ever read. Like, I just am really, really enjoying the imagination of Emily J. Taylor. But the main character, mother of God, is she annoying. She does so many selfish, stupid things. And the main character of this is so self-centered. She's constantly like thinking of her little sister, right? But she like just keeps making decisions that like are really upsetting me. Like, they're really annoying me so much. At one point, she goes into a game, and like in these games, you're not supposed to be in these games if you're like hotel staff, but she kind of like, you find out why, but she ends up kind of lost in this game. And the person who is conducting this game is a young, basically we're gonna call him like a magician. They're called summonaires. The magician, or like the magical person, the sorcerer, is like, the only way out is the guests have to figure out the end of this game. But this girl is so impatient. She's like, not on my watch. And so they basically cheat so that she can get out faster. And the summonaire literally loses a freaking eye because the main character wanted the game to end faster. Are you okay? And then like throughout the book, she's like, I feel bad about that. She doesn't even apologize. She doesn't even talk to this person. And there's kind of like a reason why that stuff is happening throughout, where she's kind of putting other people at risk because like what she wants is so much more important than what everyone else wants. Also, she's constantly talking about how like she thought that like when she was younger, she would try to get her sister to sing so that that's how they could support themselves. And honestly, this might just be a me thing, but like if I was taking care of my little sister, I would want them to follow their dreams for the sake of them following their dreams. But anytime our main protagonist, whose name I've totally forgot, Johnny. Is it Johnny? I feel like it's Johnny. Anytime Janny or Johnny is like talking about her little sister, she's not necessarily saying like, I just want to support her dreams. She's always like, I wanted to get her to a place so that she could make enough money for us to survive off of or live off of. And I understand that really she just wants to support her little sister. But I just feel like the way she goes about things is very strange. It feels very self-centered, and I don't understand what the main love interest sees in her. The only thing that I can see is that like no one else, there's this common trope where it's like, you know, sometimes the main bad boy or whatever will like fall in love with the girl because she's the only one who like talks to him that way, or she's the only one who whatever isn't afraid of him. But like, I just think she's rude. So my thoughts on this particular book so far, I'm halfway through, is that I think that it's definitely worth the read because of the atmosphere and the world building, but I think you need to go into this book for the right reasons. And the right reasons need to be like the vibes. Aesthetically, the vibes are there. I think it's a perfect read for like an autumnal cozy day. I just really don't, like, I'm not vibing with the main character as much as I wished I was because I don't like her personality. This needs to be said. Just because I criticize that I don't vibe with a character's personality doesn't mean that they're an unlikable character. It just means that I don't like them. And it also doesn't mean that it's bad writing. It's not. This is not bad writing. I'm just venting that I don't like the main character. But let me go ahead and show you what I got from Barnes & Noble, and then we'll rank the 3 books. So shockingly, I didn't really buy a lot of books at Barnes & Noble. I just have so many great books that like I already stocked up on and I recently did a haul for that I really didn't feel the need to go out and buy a lot more books. However, what I did get, and this is so surprising, I got some games. It's weird. Okay, so I got 3 like murder mystery type game things. The first one, this is a puzzle. It's called Murder Most Puzzling. It's really hard to see because of all the glare. The way you put together this puzzle is through clues. You don't actually get to see what it looks like. You have to solve the puzzle piece by piece, clue by clue, and there's like 500 pieces in here, and it just sounds really fun. The next one was one that just again looks really cool. It says The Mile High Murder. It's a crime investigation. It's a murder mystery party, and basically you get to pick like what crime you're trying to solve. In this particular one, there's a woman named Marissa who is murdered on an international flight, and we have to figure out why. And then I found this really fancy looking one. So this thing was $100. This was $100, so I really hope, number 1, that I can figure it out, and number 2, I hope that it's fun. So this is from the Hunt a Killer like murder mystery club, basically. I think like taking inspiration from Agatha Christie. And we're just trying to solve this Agatha Christie case on the back, and there's like all this stuff. But this game is supposed to last 4+ hours. 4+ hours. And here's the really exciting thing. I actually really want to try solving this for an upcoming vlog that I'm planning, I think, on doing in November. So I'm really, really, really excited. I also got this really, really, really cute little candle. Doesn't it look so freaking cute and just like dreamy? It's flavored like spiced cider, but just like the details, it's got like this little wax seal here. I love the colors. This is like my favorite green color. I mean, I'm wearing it. And oh, I was gonna have you smell it. You can't smell it. It smells like a dream, but it just looks so beautiful too. So I paid way too much money for this, but I was like, you know what? They got me. And then finally, I got 2 books. These are both, I think, YA books. The first one is called The Good Girls, and this is by Claire Eliza Bartlett, and it says secrets and lies, then somebody dies. And you know, it just kind of feels like an autumnal kind of like cozy mystery read. And then the last one, I was so excited. Like when I saw this in store, I was so excited because I loved the first book so much. And that is the sequel to Mooncakes. I loved Mooncakes so much. It's about a witch and a werewolf, and they end up like striking up a relationship, and it's just so precious. I am so excited to pick this up and read it. I loved Mooncakes so much, and I just love the colors. Like, look at this. This is the most autumnal thing in the world. I know it's mostly orange, but I mean, like, look at this. Look at this. It's freaking beautiful. And finally, we can go ahead and do the ranking for the 3 books that I read this week. So at the bottom, I'm going to say is Hotel Magnifique, but I haven't finished it, so I feel like I really should not be rating this, but I'm gonna give this a very solid 4-star so far. The next one is going to be this one, which is Babel by R.F. Kuang. It's interesting because I'm pretty sure when I was reviewing this, I gave this also a 4-star, but upon like reflection, I really feel like it's a stronger read overall than just a 4-star, so I'm probably gonna end up giving this like a 4 point, somewhere between like 4.2, 4.5, somewhere in that range. And then the very final one, which was 5 stars for me. Again, it's not going to be for everyone, but I freaking love this book so much. Gothic, and that is These Fleeting Shadows by Kate Alice Marshall. I loved Rules for Vanishing. I loved this one. I think this is going to be on like my top favorite books of the year. It's very weird. It's not going to be for everyone, but like if it's for you, you're going to love it, okay? And I had so much fun reading them this week. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. I've checked and it's already pretty lengthy because of how long some of my reviews are, so sorry about that. But anyways, I think that is it. I'm gonna go ahead and say goodnight and continue reading Hotel Magnifique. So until next time, book lovers, keep your head in the clouds and your heart in a book, and I will talk to you very soon. Stay spooky!